So I'm wondering if my more cinematic sequences have hooked you in a bit. So stay with me because I'm going to delve a bit deeper into this Invicta Grand Diver. I'm going to show you a bit of the details about the watch, but also some brief history about Invicta as a brand and where I think they've gone awry and why they are such a hated brand. I think it's because they do a real mix of sometimes pleasant, sometimes awful watches. Where does this watch fit? Let's take a look. So here it is, the Grand Diver. It is a beast. If you were suffering a minor injury and need to have physiotherapy to get strength back in one of your arms, strap this on and wear it for a few weeks and you'll gain your strength back in no time. And I'll tell you why. I'll get Gibas, my faithful assistant, to show you why. I've taken 2 links out of this to size up for my 7-inch wrist. This weighs 217 grams. So if you've never seen a watch be weighed before and know what that even means, that's a lot. I'll give you an example. A regular Seiko SKX is about 140, 150, even less on a rubber strap. So a sports watch on a steel bracelet is normally around 150 to 180 maybe, even if you're talking something quite chunky and quite weighty. Now let's see why it weighs so much. I think it's because this is enormous. It is over 46mm case size. Excluding this Cyclops, it is 16mm thick, give or take. Got a big chunky bracelet, 22mm bracelet down to 20, so there's not a huge taper on there. We've got milled clasp, and we've got pressed clasp here, this part of the clasp, but this aspect is actually been machined, which is nice, a bit of an upgrade. So the dial size on this is, what we got, 33, and the lug to lug, so the length of this watch is 55. Let's see what this looks like on my average wrist of 7 inches with 2 links taken out and a few of the micro adjusts used on the bracelet. It's big, but it's actually comfortable. It doesn't feel unpleasant. I think it's got a nice curve on the lugs. It actually feels really comfortable. I want to show you the packaging this comes with. Bear in mind that is a big watch. This is the box it came in. An awful, disgusting plastic piece of crap. It really is disgusting. Oh, it's just, ugh. Don't know why they even put it in that. I'd rather it was just loose in a bag. It is that disgusting. It comes with a little guarantee card. Very nice. So, get an idea of the kind of packaging you get with a watch like this. I got this for less than £100 from TK Maxx, but you can get it on Amazon, eBay. There's lots of resources to buy one of these. So just look for Invicta Grand Diver. So let's get a closer look at this dial so I can show you. So we're going to run through some specifications now. So you know that the dimensions, things like that. So this crystal is called Flame Fusion Crystal. That is just a bit of branding, marketing crap to basically say it's just synthetic crystal. It's nothing special. It will scratch just as easily as mineral. There's literally nothing special about it. So don't get excited about telling your mates you've got a flame fusion, flame infused, flamethrower crystal on your watch, because it's just marketing spiel. Do have a nice little bit of a sunburst on this dial, which is quite nifty. And I do like the contrasting blue working with the grey. So that is nice. But we do have a Cyclops. Doesn't magnify that much. See, probably 2 times, maybe if you're lucky. 2.5 times, you'd know, because it pretty much fills the Cyclops. So it's not a very good Cyclops, really. But at least it lines up. It's actually pretty much spot on. As does the bezel. That lines up as well. Now, this has got a really substantial feeling bezel. It doesn't turn very easily. And I imagine if you get a bit of salt water in there, it's probably going to seize up, which isn't ideal. But that's the problem that happened with my friend Jim's pro diver. He got that in the sea once and came out, he rinsed it off and everything as you're supposed to, and then the next day it was seized and I had to free it all up for him. So that didn't bode well for build quality. But this, it's got a nice 120 click bezel and it's got a really sort of substantial feel to it. It's actually quite hard to turn. I think it'd be nice if it loosens up over time, but it does line up. Oh, God. It's hard to line up because you end up forcing it to line it up. It's a pain in the ass. There we are. So we have a screw down crown, which is what you'd expect for a watch that says it has 300 meters water resist. So it's 1,000 feet. You're never going to go down that deep. In fact, if you're a recreational diver, you go down a little bit, you could wear this. But a lot of you are going to say, oh, has it been tested? Has it this? Has it that? I don't know what the law is or the rules are for sticking 300 meters on a watch. They could have said 200 meters. They could have said 100 meters. Why would you stick 300 on if it wasn't capable of doing something half decent in terms of going down? No one's going to go down that deep. World record's about 335 meters. And that's someone with, you know, a lot of experience and appropriate equipment and a whole team behind them. So they're not going to be putting an Invicta Grand Diver on the wrist, that's for sure. So 300 meters is technically irrelevant, but it's just, again, a bit of marketing spiel. I've got a Grand Diver 300 meters with flame fusion crystal, and it weighs as much as a Happy Meal. It's just huge. So movement wise, you do get a decent movement. So I'll bash the camera. You do get a decent movement. You get your Seiko NH35, which is very reliable, keeps good time. Seen any of my videos, you know the crack. It's just so universal as a watch movement. It works on so many levels. And what they do is they decorate the movement as well. What they do is they stick a sticker on the rotor. Let's get some focus. There we go. You get some branding on there. Speaking of brand, this brand was bought out in 1991 by an American company based in Florida. They design their own, they do the designs of the watches now. It used to be owned by the Picard family, nothing to do with Star Trek, which is a shame. I think they'd have been really cool watches. But these watches used to be, since 1837, they were from La Chaux de Fonds in Switzerland. Started by Raphael Picard, and I think it was a quartz crisis in the 70s, which effectively caused too much grief for them, and they just sold out. They sold the brand in 91 to this American company based in Hollywood, Florida, and they've effectively carried the brand on. It's been successful. They sell loads of watches. But for us lovers of watches in sort of a different level of the watch world, not your regular buying public that just pop to some random shop and go, oh, that looks big and impressive, I'll buy it. We know a little bit more. We look into it a bit more. And a watch like this fits into that kind of category. It's a bit more relying heavily on its name, Invicta, sort of being known, and the fact it's just a big, hulking, great beast of a thing to make a bit of a statement. People love these watches. I've been on forums and things to do research, and people really love their watches, and the people that review them on Amazon and things like that, they go, oh, I love this watch, it's amazing for the money. I think it's one of those things, unless you've explored the other avenues out there, different watches for this kind of price point, you're not going to really know what else you can get for around £100. And as you know, if you've watched any of my other videos and you've done your research, you know there's loads of watches out there, even dive watches which state 200 meters resistance, etc., which cost about the same as this and won't be emblazoned with Invicta Grand Diver in a different font and really tacky. They won't have all that kind of crap on it. So what does this look like outside in some natural light? My obligatory outdoor shots with some music and cinematic sequences are about to follow. Now, what this outdoor shot stuff doesn't show you is what's the loom like. This is a dive style watch. Let's get these hands all out of the way so you can see all the hands. Let's keep it in the hacking position. I'm going to turn the lights out, charge up the loom, and let's see how good this really is, because as a dive watch, if it hasn't got decent enough loom, it is unforgivable. Well, the good news is the loom on this is significantly better than the Pro Diver, which was woeful. So the Grand Diver does have an upgraded loom. So a green colour, it's well applied. When I say well applied, if anyone's not heard that before, it's not grainy, because cheap, poorly applied loom, it just looks patchy and not been thickly applied. But the hands are definitely better. That's the thing that's important. And we have a loomed pip. So, well done. So let's have a quick recap, and then I'll move on to my likes, dislikes, and final conclusion, because we're kind of getting there. You're getting the point. I've discussed the history of the watch, the brand effectively, and where does this watch fit in? Is it a proper dive watch? It's not ISO rated. So what is it? Is it a fashion watch? No, because it's a big, awful, sort of gangly looking, not gangly, a gargantuan thing, more like what you imagine some big muscly bloke would wear. Definitely not me. You could take this diving. I would say you could. I'm no expert, but I would trust it. I'd say you're not going to stick grand diver on something on 300 meters and it's only good for going in a paddling pool. That would be humiliating and would damage the brand beyond repair. The bezel, 120 click, and it has a loomed pip, so that's a good. Yep, we've got that. Screw down crown, and it has one major flaw when it comes to this, if it's going to be a dive watch. No diver's extension. What's that all about? At all, nothing. It's a blooming dive watch. Where is your diver's extension? You're going to make it a grand diver. You can get diver's extensions and sweaty day extensions on dress watches, for goodness sake. Why haven't they got that on this? I'm sorry, I'm angry now. It's just silly. It's just annoying. You go to the extent of engraving grand diver into the side of your watch and, you know, going, you know, sticking these divers helmets on it and everywhere, and diver's helmet on the dial, and write grand diver in big bold text. Yet then you don't actually do one thing, which if you're going to wear a wetsuit, you don't want the awkwardness of having to slip your wetsuit over your watch. You need to see the blooming thing. So that's why you have a diver's extension, so you can put it over your wetsuit, give you the extra 10, 15 mil or whatever you need in extra immediate adjustment on this standard bracelet, so you can put it over your wetsuit. And if you're going to be diving, you're likely to be wearing a blooming wetsuit or equivalent. It's just ridiculous. So that's a big fail on my part. The loom is acceptable, so that's a plus. But the thing that lets it down is it doesn't have that diver's extension. But things I do like, I mean, it's got a nice big easy to use crown. It's got that Seiko NH35 movement. It's a big silly watch. I mean, it's something you can have a laugh with, and if you're in the mood for a big watch, or you are a big guy and you want to wear a big watch, you could love this thing, you know. But it does have a bit of tackiness to it. I really don't like that grand diver on the side. That is disgusting. I actually like the Invicta. That works. I think the font is attractive, and it is the brand, and it takes away that big slab-sidedness of the polished side there. I can live with that. But I don't like how stiff the bezel action is. I don't like how the Cyclops doesn't quite magnify. I don't like the fact, even though it is a cheap watch, it doesn't have sapphire coated even, or sapphire crystal of any sort. So but then mineral crystal or mineral synthetic is good for dive watches because it has that clarity. So you could argue back again, the reason why mineral crystal is better for a dive style watch, like they did in the old Citizen Pro divers, things like that, is perfect for clarity, where you don't have the glare associated with sapphire. So there could be a counter argument there. It is actually very comfortable. I size this and it fits me perfectly, but if I was inclined to use this and go in the sea and wear a wetsuit, it wouldn't fit me and I'd be annoyed, and I have to put it on a different strap. But luckily 22 lug width is great for a strap change. So in conclusion, guys, would I recommend this? If you're a big guy or a person who likes a big watch, go for it. If you don't mind these few tacky things I've highlighted, go for it. It is actually, the whole front of the watch is actually quite attractive. I think it's got nice large indices, large big numbers on the bezel insert, which is aluminium, by the way. It's got the nice bit of colour in there with the powder blue. It's different, and it's not paying homage to anything too much. You know, it's got that little bit of uniqueness. So it's a quirky watch, definitely, but not 100% for me. But I hope I've been informative enough to give you an idea of what this is all about, guys. And if it's been so, please subscribe. It'd really be appreciated. And you can see all my other videos and my future content. And you join the gang and help the channel grow. And that's what it's all about. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. In the meantime, be safe. Bye for now.